You've thought about it, maybe not for long, maybe just once lying awake at 3 a.m., but you've wondered what actually happens the second you die. Most religions give you a vague answer, a light, a gate, a judgment you can't quite picture. Hinduism gives you a bureaucrat, because somewhere right now someone is dying, and two messengers already know exactly where to find them, not to punish them, not yet, just to collect them and walk them down a very long road toward a being who has already read every choice they ever made. That being is Yama, and an entire civilization feared him for thousands of years. Not because he was cruel, not because he enjoyed it. They feared him because he was something far worse than cruel. He was completely, permanently fair. Picture him the way ancient sculptors did. Dark-skinned, dressed in red, riding a black buffalo. A noose coiled in one hand, a mace in the other. He's not there to torture you. He's there to bind your soul gently and pull it free from a body that no longer needs it. Even his weapons are administrative. A noose doesn't kill, it collects. And yet, this same god is also prayed to. Householders once faced south, Yama's own direction, and asked him for something surprising, a longer life. Not to be spared from him forever, nobody believed that was possible. Just a little more time before the ledger closed. Fear and worship in this myth were never separate things. So let's go back to where this god actually comes from, and why Hindus, thousands of years ago, decided death itself needed a face. To understand why this god became the most feared figure in the entire Hindu cosmos, you have to go back to the oldest layer of the myth, the Rig Veda, one of the most ancient religious texts still recited today. There, Yama isn't a punisher at all. He's the very first mortal to die, the first human being to walk the path every soul after him would eventually have to walk. That's what made him king of the dead, not conquest, not violence, just the simple, terrible fact that he went first. He is the son of Surya, the sun god, and the twin brother of Yami, who would become the river goddess Yamuna. Even his birth carries the seed of the myth. His mother, overwhelmed by the sheer brightness of the sun god, couldn't bear to look at her own husband directly. In these earliest hymns, Yama isn't monstrous at all. He's described as a content, almost welcoming king, greeting the newly dead into a peaceful realm of ancestors. Death in this oldest version isn't a punishment, it's a reunion. So then, where does the fear actually come from? It comes from what Yama becomes over the centuries. Not a monster, but a judge. As Hindu theology develops, Yama merges with the concept of Dharma itself, cosmic law, moral order, the invisible structure that holds reality together. He earns a new title, Dharma Raja, King of Righteousness, and that's precisely why he becomes terrifying. Think about it this way. A violent god you can bargain with. You can flee from him, fight him, beg him. But a god who is literally the law, you can't negotiate with that at all. When Yama comes for you, he isn't angry. He's just balancing an equation, one that's been running since the moment you were born. And that equation has a bureaucracy behind it, one more elaborate than almost anything else in world mythology. When a person dies, the soul doesn't go to Yama immediately. According to later texts like the Garuda Purana, it takes an entire year-long journey through a network of realms, escorted by Yama's own messengers, the Yamadutas. The soul's earthly body is slowly reconstructed, piece by piece, day by day, so that it can endure the crossing still to come. And that crossing is one of the most horrifying images in all of Hindu scripture. The river Vaitarani, not a river of water, but of blood, pus, and filth, its banks crawling with creatures that exist only to torment whoever tries to pass. The virtuous cross it with ease, sometimes carried by the tail of a cow, offered in life through ritual donation. The wicked are dragged through it by force, inch by inch. On the other side waits Yama's court, and Yama does not judge alone. Beside him sits Chitragupta, a being said to have sprung directly from the mind of the creator god Brahma, brought into existence for exactly one purpose: to keep a literal, flawless, written ledger of every single thought, word, and deed a soul ever produced. Think about that for a second. Every thought, not just what you did, what you thought about doing. There is no appeal. There is no version of your life you can spin differently. Chitragupta simply reads. Yama simply rules. Based on that ledger, the soul is sent temporarily to Swarga, a heaven of pleasure, or to Naraka, one of many distinct hells, each shaped with unsettling precision around the exact nature of the sin committed in life. Those who took cruel pleasure in killing, texts say, are sent to Kumbhipaka, boiled as they once boiled others. Those who lied under oath face Raurava, a hell of biting, burning worms. Every punishment fits its crime with the precision of an audit, not the randomness of rage. There is no generic fire here, only consequence, engineered. And crucially, in Hindu cosmology, neither heaven nor hell is forever. Even hell is temporary. The soul eventually returns, reborn, to try again. This is a very different kind of death god than the one you're probably picturing. Yama isn't really the end. He's quality control, for the wheel of reincarnation itself. And this idea of him traveled. As Buddhism spread out of India, it carried Yama along with it, into Tibet, into China, into Japan, where he survives today as Enma, judge of the dead in Japanese folklore, still holding a ledger, still weighing lives against a fixed and unbending law. Very few gods cross that many borders and keep the exact same job description the entire way. But here's the question that should be bothering you by now. If Yama is only ever fair, only ever following the ledger, where does his reputation for mercy come from? Because it exists too, and it might be the strangest part of this entire myth. There was a boy named Nachiketa, son of a sage, who in a moment of frustration was offered by his own father to death itself as a rash, spoken oath. Nachiketa took the offer seriously. He traveled to Yama's realm and waited 3 full days at Yama's own door because Yama wasn't home. When Yama returned to find a young Brahmin guest left unfed and unwelcomed for 3 days, he was mortified. In this tradition, failing to honor a guest is treated as a genuine spiritual failure, and Yama, king of Dharma, had just failed his own principle. To atone, he offered Nachiketa 3 wishes, whatever the boy desired. The first 2 wishes were modest. The third is the one that matters. Nachiketa asked Yama to explain what actually happens to a person after death, the real truth behind the mystery Yama himself administers every single day. Yama tried everything to talk him out of it. He offered wealth, long life, kingdoms, pleasures beyond imagination, anything except the answer. Nachiketa refused all of it, and so Yama, death itself, sat down with a mortal child and explained the one secret every human being spends their entire life avoiding, that the body ends, but the self within it does not. That fearing death is simply a failure to understand what you actually are. This dialogue, preserved in the Katha Upanishad, is considered one of the philosophical cornerstones of Hindu thought, a sacred text in which death is not humanity's enemy at all, but its most patient teacher. And Yama's compassion doesn't end there. In the story of Savitri and Satyavan, Yama comes personally to collect the soul of a dying prince and finds the prince's wife, Savitri, following him on foot, refusing to turn back, matching him philosophy for philosophy across miles of forest. Impressed rather than irritated, Yama grants her a series of boons, and through sheer cleverness, she maneuvers him into restoring her husband's life entirely. Death, out-argued by love and intelligence, simply concedes. Even the sage Markandeya, devoted entirely to the god Shiva, is said to have escaped Yama's noose at the very last second, Shiva himself intervening to hold death back, proving that even Dharma bends, occasionally, in the face of true devotion. So, what were people actually afraid of, if the god behind all of this could be reasoned with, could teach philosophy to a child, could lose an argument to a grieving wife? They were afraid of the one thing none of that changes, the ledger. Chitragupta doesn't forget. The river doesn't skip anyone. Dharma, once merged into a god, cannot be flattered, bribed, or escaped, only earned, action by action, across an entire lifetime. That is a far more disturbing kind of death than any demon with a blade. A blade is random. Yama is not. Yama is the certainty that everything you have ever done is already being written down. And that one day, in a court you cannot postpone, it will be read back to you, in full. That's why Yama was feared more than death itself. Death, on its own, is just an ending. Yama is the audit that comes after it. If this changed how you picture the Hindu god of death, tell me in the comments what surprised you most. And if you want to go deeper into what the Garuda Purana says actually happens to the soul in the days right after death, the version most people have never heard, that's exactly where we're heading next.